Hi, and welcome to the first video presented by Service Dynamics. We are going to be looking at the service management module in Microsoft's Business Central ERP program, and I'm excited to walk through this with you. So what can you expect in this video? We're going to do a high-level introduction to the service management module in Business Central, and then we're going to come out with several videos in a series that's going to give you a more detailed, granular look at each of the components within the service management module. But this will give you a good introduction on how it is used and some best practices. We're going to look at benefits for service-based organizations, and I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough within Business Central itself, looking at the module. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to tell you a little bit about us. So to start, my name is Hillary Craggs. I am one of the Business Central analysts here at Service Dynamics. I was actually an end user in a service-based company for about 6 years using the solution that Service Dynamics offers. And I was able to see firsthand not only how the implementation went, but then how the day-to-day use of the program worked and what it enabled my company to do over those 6 years that I was with them in terms of growth and process improvement and being able to position ourselves strategically because we had the technology behind us to back us. What is Service Dynamics? So we are a company that specializes in ERP for field service companies. So that could be HVAC, electrical, different trade industries. We deliver Microsoft Dynamics 365 implementations that are going to simplify your operations. You may have many disjointed programs right now, Excel sheets everywhere, different checklists in Word documents and Adobe, and we're going to bring it all together into one system. The way that we approach implementation is a little different than some other Microsoft partners in that we focus on fixed fee projects. We want to see real results, and then we also offer ongoing support after your implementation. So we don't get you up running and then leave you to yourself. We stick around and help and make sure that you are successful through your ERP journey. Some example industries that we serve. We have customers in the electrical field, HVAC, industrial equipment. So we have some customers that are manufacturers primarily, but they need to service the equipment that they are either selling to their customers, or maybe it's a machine shop and they have a lot of equipment internally that they need to service. So leveraging the service module in their ERP system allows them to do that. Plumbing, manufacturing, like I said, and solar installation. One thing that you'll notice about each one of these industries in the benefits that it offers is it's going to streamline scheduling, it simplifies dispatching, it connects with the rest of the company in terms of inventory and purchasing. So you're not all working in disjointed different areas looking at different information. It's one streamlined system, so everybody is working together. Here is an overview of the video series that we will be putting out here at Service Dynamics. Today we're doing the Business Central Service Management overview, but in the future we are also going to put out videos looking at the setup and design considerations that your company should take into account when they're setting up the module. We're going to take a detailed look at service items, service contracts, service quotes and orders, field service operations, field service rentals, and reporting. So if this is content that is of interest to you and you want to make sure that you don't miss any, then I strongly recommend that you subscribe to our page so that you don't miss any new material coming out as we walk through the service management module together. So let's get back to talking about service management in Business Central now that we talked a bit about Service Dynamics. The service management module is basically going to bring everything together for you to make doing the maintenance, repairs, different service agreements that you have with your customers together so that you can efficiently and effectively do that work. So its main pieces are tracking service items and contracts, managing the work orders, and then linking everything together for inventory and billing. In my opinion, the four main pieces that we're going to look at today when we get into Business Central are the customer card, the service item card, the service contract, and the service order. So with these four pieces, you basically can find all of the information that you would need about the services that you're delivering. Your customer card is going to store and manage all of the data that's surrounding that customer, like their address, their contact information, alternate contacts, all of their invoices, everything that they've bought. The service item is the actual customer asset. So that's that physical asset that requires the service, the maintenance, the repair that you're doing the work on. The service contract is basically your service level agreement with that customer, and it helps with the generation of ongoing service. And then your service order, which is essentially your work order. So it's the document that you use to track and manage the ongoing repair and maintenance work that you have pending in your queue. Why use the service management module in Business Central? It brings everything together. I can't say it enough. It reduces the manual tracking. As somebody who went from many countless Excel sheets and Outlook calendars and Word documents to using this solution, I can tell you that it really does bring all of those individual pieces together into one spot. It really brings all the material together so that everybody is working on the same information, has access to the same information, and is able to effectively do the work that they need to. It improves the visibility for service history and contracts, not only for administrative staff working in the office, but also for field staff. There's nothing worse than having a technician out in the field having to waste an hour of their day figuring out what happened last on a repair for a piece of equipment when they could just pull up that report and look at it right there and understand the history of what's been going on and be able to jump in and get to work. It's going to streamline your scheduling, your billing, your reporting. You're not going to have all of these things out in different programs that you're then trying to bring together to put together an invoice and send out. It's all going to be together in one, and you're going to be able to see it move through the system in a logical fashion. It's also going to integrate with your inventory and your financials. So rather than being blind to how much you actually have versus don't have, it's going to be able to give you a real-time update as material is being used, as invoices are being posted. So this is some of the benefits of using service management in Business. This is a flowchart of the service management module, your typical flow, and how the information moves through the system. Like I said earlier, there's kind of four main pieces that we're going to look at today that I think are really the core of the service management module and where you're going to find all your information. So we're going to take a look at the customer. We're going to take a look at the service item, the service contract, and your service order. Okay, let's head over to Business Central. Now that we're here in Business Central, you can see that I'm in a Kronos demo company. The role that I've selected is our service manager role. So my screen is very much tailored to the work that somebody in your service department would be looking to have. It gives me quick links to service order statuses, service contracts that are about to expire, gives me insight into job queues. But we're going to take a look at those four elements that I mentioned before. So starting with the customer card. The customer card is important because that's where a lot of your information is going to drive from. to fill out through the rest of the different cards we're going to look at. So I'm going to take Cranberry Cove Winery, for example. So when I open the customer card for Cranberry Cove, it's going to give me a nice snapshot of that customer. I can see that they have a balance. They owe us $228. I can see what service zone they're in. They're in our central service zone. It's going to give me the address, contact information, payment terms, shipping. You can see that they have a ship to code here. So a ship to code is used as like an alternate address. In the service module specifically, I always think of it as where we're going to do the service. It's not uncommon, especially when you're working with commercial customers, for them to have one address for their main office where maybe accounting is, and that's where all the invoices need to go, but then another address where the service actually needs to take place. So if we look at that ship to code, you can see that it has a different address than the address that is on the main customer card. So this one's 1 Harbor Street in Thornbury. But their main address is 9 Harbor Street East in Collingwood. So this is a great snapshot of the customer, like I said. I like that you get this fact box over here on the side that gives you just running statistics of what's going on. We can see that they've got an outstanding service order still going on that's currently got $188.10 billed to it. It'll give you quick links into different areas if you wanted to look up the history. So I could click on this and see the different service shipments that have already happened for this customer and see their old orders. One of the great things about Business Central is how all the information links together, and I can't stress that enough. You're not going to have the disjointedness that many companies experienced before moving to an ERP system. After customers, we're going to go look at our service items. So the service item, again, is the customer's asset, the piece of equipment that you are actually doing the maintenance and repair to. So if I wanted to look at Cranberry Cove again, let's pull up this hot tub that they have. So the service item here, it's going to give you a lot of information about that piece of equipment. You'll be able to see the warranty period. These can default in depending on your company's standard warranty offerings. It's going to give you that customer information. You can see here on this one, that ship to code is being used. So we know that while this service item belongs to Cranberry Cove and Collingwood, it actually is located in Thornbury. It's going to tell me if there are contracts associated with the service item. You can see that there's a little hyperlink here. I can click on that and it'll give me a list of any contracts it's associated with. Vendor information. So this is actually where we as the company bought the hot tub from before then selling it to Cranberry Cove Winery. So this can be helpful for any companies that are selling equipment that's manufactured by another one, and that they then have access quickly to where it was made, who it was made by, and then they can pull up any resources needed for doing maintenance on it, like manuals and whatnot. Details, it just gives you some sales details about the item. Up at the top here, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can click into to get more information on. One of the best parts of the service management module, in my opinion, is the history. So we can open up the service ledger entries, and it's going to show you all of the postings that have happened against that service item. Now, one thing that I like to stress is that there's a difference between a customer's history and a service item's history. Your customer's history, so Cranberry Cove Winery, you're going to see all of their invoicing and payments when you look up their history. with the service ledger entries and the service history associated with your service item, that's going to stay with that service item, regardless of if the customer changes or not. So an example could be in the HVAC industry, for example, somebody moves. People move and sell their houses all the time. You could still hold a service contract for that same house, and you're not going to lose the history of the work that you've done on that unit just because somebody has moved. It is staying with the item itself, and you'll still be able to see that. Next one we're going to look at is our service contracts. So in here, I'm going to open up that same example of the Cranberry Winery. So the service contract is the document that you use with your customer to establish your service level agreement, your SLA. On the service contract, you're going to add the service item or items that you are servicing for them. You're going to add the frequency. This one, for example, we're going to go every 6 months. The next date that you plan to go. Invoicing, you can set it up to invoice another individual. So for example, maybe in a condo corp, for example, you have the customer being the individual condo owner, and then maybe it's getting billed to the condo corporation. So you might have a different invoicing customer there. The ship to code comes into play again if they have a different address for the physical, where the physical item is located versus where mail goes to. You have your service zone code, your service period, again, the 6 months. You're going to select what type of service order it is. So this one is just general maintenance. Response time in hours, if you have that service level agreement and it's written in there that you're going to respond within so many hours. Invoicing details. So you can see here in this one, the way that I have it set up, we're going to bill monthly, even though we only go every 6 months. So different contracts may be set up this way. You know, it's a cash flow preference or maybe how you like to set up your contracts. But in this one, what I did was we're going to bill the customer monthly for the 2 services that they get a year. So they're going to pay $100 a month. They're going to get an invoice once a month for that $100. And then at the end of the year, they will have paid the $1,200 that covers the 2 visits that they get the once every 6 months. There's also the ability to do price updates through the service contract modules, through the service contracts. And that can be really helpful, especially once you start getting large numbers of contracts and you want to do a across the board 2% increase so that you can keep up with inflation. Having the ability to automate that kind of process is really key. The last piece we're going to look at today in Business Central is the service order card. So the service order, like I mentioned before, is essentially your work order. So when we open up the work order, I'm going to pick this one that's finished out of our list here. You can see it's finished based off of the status. But it's going to give you a lot of the same information you've seen on the other cards. It's going to give you the customer information so you know who you're doing the work for. It'll give you the service order type. You can have that filled in. If this job was created through a contract, it would have a contract number defaulted in here. If it was one that was just made manually on the fly because there was an emergency service visit, then that contract number does not default in, but you can assign it to the contract. You just click on the 3 dots and it's going to show you what contracts are associated with that customer. Here on the lines, you can see that we did work on service item number 11. So that hot tub at Cranberry Cove. Down on the invoicing area, you can see we're invoicing straight to Cranberry Cove. If they have a PO, you can enter in the PO for that work. The ship to code again. You want to make sure that the field staff go to the right place. And then the big thing with the service orders is you go down a level into the service item worksheet. So this is your service item. This would be your customer asset, in this case, your hot tub. And then you're going to go into that service item worksheet, and it's going to give you the details of the work that's being done. So you can see in here, you're able to record fault area codes, symptom codes, resolution codes. So you're able to get some great tracking on what caused the issue, what the resolution was, and be able to do some data analysis on your equipment. You can add resource time, you can add items, you're able to add costs if you had standard costs. So you might have a start fee for each one of your services that's billed every time. You can have that default in. Basically, this worksheet, the service item worksheet, is where all of the work that your technicians do and everything that's going to be billed to the customer gets added on, so that then when the work order is processed, the service order is processed, you're able to bill them for all of the work that was completed. So now we've taken a look at the customer card, the service item card, service contracts, and service orders. Again, a very high level, but we'll get into more detail on each one of those in later videos. So let's head back to the slide deck. Just a quick recap. We've talked about service management and Business Central, when to use it. We've talked about the benefits of it from a service-based organization's perspective, and we did that quick walkthrough in Business Central of those 4 key pieces that I highlighted. So a reminder, we did customer card, the service item, the service contract, and the service order. So you can see how those pieces fit into this matrix of the service management workflow and how it all eventually will come together into eventually a posting that's going to give you your service invoice, your service entry, warranty entries, maybe a loaner entry, and a record of the posted service shipment. So just a reminder, today we did the Business Central Service Management overview. We have several videos coming up in our lineup that I'd love for you to join me and take a walk through the system with me so you can get a bit more detail on each of these items. And if this is of interest to you, I again encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like it, share it, and then you will be sure to not miss any of this. So thanks again for joining me. My name again is Hillary. I'm one of the Business Central Analysts here at Service Dynamics. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to send me a message or comment on the video, and we'll do our best to get back to you. I'd love to talk to you about your business and what we could do to help you here at Service Dynamics.